Peaches? Let's talk everything grad school. So the point of this video is to kind of go over what I wish I knew before applying to grad school and how I got into Boston University. So let me just give you a little bit of background. So I graduated from undergrad from the University of Hawaii, Manoa, December of 2021. And then I took the semester off, and now I am currently in the fall semester for my master's in social work at BU. Now, I wanted to do this video to give you guys some tips because I knew absolutely nothing when applying to grad school, and I had to find everything out within like a week. So this video is to give you some tips. And my first tip is to look at the deadlines for grad school's applications, or just look at grad school programs in general. So I only applied to 5 different schools, and out of the 5 schools, I got declined from 2, got accepted into 2, and I got waitlisted for 1. But I thought I had a lot more time than I actually did. So when I graduated from my undergrad, I thought that I had that entire semester to kind of create my resume, to create my personal statement, to take in the GRE, and to get 3 references from my professors. But I only had a week to do it. So my first tip is to look at the deadlines and look at the programs, and I would also suggest that whatever school you're looking into, look at the program and look at the professors and see what type of research that they are doing, because this is going to be really helpful for your personal statement. So my second tip is about your personal statement. You want your personal statement to kind of stand out, but you also want to talk about your experiences, and you want to talk about your end goals. So I'm going to pull up my personal statement to kind of give you a rough outline of what I did. Okay, so I just pulled up my personal statement for Boston. So I did apply to 5 different programs, and I had a different personal statement that was all relatively the same for the different schools, just because in your personal statement you do kind of want to personalize it to the university or the program that you are applying to, so they actually know that you're interested within their program. So my personal statement is 4 pages. Sometimes it depends on the admission. So I know for one of my personal statements, I had to condense it to 2 pages, which I felt like really limited me because I didn't really get to talk about like my experiences. So kind of just to give you an outline and like a structure of what I did. I first talked about my like upbringing. And so for me, I'm a military brat. So I kind of talked about that and touch bases of how I grew up, looking at people, specifically veterans who are dealing with like mental health issues, and I looked at how like there was a stigma behind it in the military. So I kind of wanted to like address that because my end goal is to eventually work in a veteran affairs hospital as a licensed social worker. So I wanted to touch base about that, and then I talked about how even like throughout my childhood to adulthood, how I saw like the impacts of people struggling with mental health and stuff. And then in my second paragraph, I started talking about my undergrad experience at the university. So I talked about like some of the different courses that I took, and I talked about some of the research that I did, because that's always very important. They kind of want to know like what experience you can bring to the university. And I feel like that's what kind of makes you stand out. And then my third paragraph is talking about my experience. So not everyone's gonna have experience, but I highly suggest that you do some volunteering and internship, maybe working within like the field, like shadowing someone, or sometimes you can get a job in undergrad, like kind of looking over what you want to do. So for me, I worked as a Veteran Affairs work study intern for a little bit. So I kind of talked about my experience within that job and how I got to see like different coping mechanisms that veterans can use for PTSD. And then my fourth paragraph is the reason why I am applying to this specific program at BU. So my suggestion is to look at like their mission or their statement and just include it in your personal statement, because it really will show that you are invested in their program. And then I talked about my passion. So for me, I am a psychology and women's studies major in my undergrad, of course. And so I talked about like my first passion in psychology and like why I'm so interested in psychology and what really intrigues me and why I want to work in this field. And then I moved on to basically my conclusion, where I talk about how I believe that my experience and my drive will make me a great asset for this program at Boston University. Again, you want to include in your conclusion of the program that you are applying to, just to really show them. And I didn't do it in this one, but in one of my other personal statements, I believe it was me applying to Columbia, I looked at professors in their research, and I even like included that in my conclusion, that I would love to work with so-and-so in their research because it aligns with my personal and career goals. So that is everything that I have for a personal statement. And then I would work on your resume or your CV. So for me, I didn't do a CV, I did a resume just because I felt like it was a little bit easier. So let me pull that up very quickly. Okay, so my resume for grad school is only a page. So I include my first name, my address, my phone number, and my email. And then I included my career objectives. So it's recent psychology and women's studies graduate with excellent education credentials with a proficient attitude to continue learning, aspiring to pursue a master's in social work from a renowned institution to expand knowledge in quantitative research, clinical trials, and medicine. And so then after that, I included my education. So I included like my undergrad, like what I majored in. I graduated with like honors, so I included that. And then I just included some of the coursework that I did that was like relevant to the program. So for example, like I added like survey of research methods, statistics, developmental psychology, clinical psychology, all of that. And then you can include accomplishment and like honors. So like I put that like I was on the dean list for a certain amount of semesters, that I did study abroad, and that I was part of like an honors society. And then I included like skills. So I just put like research, report writing, problem solving, data gathering, and communication. And then lastly, I put like my work experience and my volunteer experience, which I think is very like essential when doing this, because they kind of want to know like what experience you have in the field. So like I didn't include like my boutique job or anything like that. I included the time that I was a work study intern at Veteran Affairs, and like I just kind of put like some of my duties there. And then I included my volunteer experience, which was working with like Special Olympics, which is also very like relative to what I'm trying to pursue. So there's that. So my tip is, one, to only include like experience and volunteer experience that is relative to your program. If you don't have that, then that's fine. Then I would probably put like a job that you've had, just to say like I have good communication skills, I'm a team player, just really fluff it up basically. So that is my second tip for grad school is to just create a good resume that just like shows your accomplishments and your work experience. And then another tip is to talk to your professors and like actually create a relationship with them, because it was really hard for me to get letter of recommendations. So I was really bad, and in my last semester I did ask multiple professors, and only 3 professors were willing to write me a letter, or like agree to like write me a letter of recommendation. And then over Christmas break I saw that the deadlines were due in January of 2022 for the fall semester for most of the schools, and I did not contact any of my professors. So by the time that I had contacted them, they had like 1 week over Christmas break to write me a letter of recommendation. So honestly, it is a miracle that my professors actually were checking their email, and the fact that they were able to write one so fast. So my advice is talk to your professors like a year to like 6 months. Tell them the programs that you're applying to, because that was my issue, is like I didn't know what programs to look into, and I also didn't know which ones I wanted to apply to. So yes, do your research on programs and just look at colleges that you're interested in, and then tell them that. And so then they can like create like a general letter of rec, and so then they can just like change it to like make it kind of specific. I don't know what my professors actually said about me, but I'm assuming it was pretty good considering that I got into BU. So yeah, so that is my biggest tip. Give your professors enough time and warning before applying to any of these programs. And when you do apply to these programs, most of them you can't see what they wrote, so when you're doing the application, you'll just give them your professor's emails, and they will send out an email notifying them that you have applied or like started your application, and like where they can submit the letter of recommendations. So just yeah, I think my biggest tip is to just know what kind of programs you want to do, because I was really lost between going back and forth if I wanted to get my master's in the counseling compared to my master's in social work. And I think that's just because in my undergrad experience, I didn't really talk to my academic advisor at all, so I really had no idea what I was doing, and so I had to do a lot of research on my own, and thankfully there are a lot of YouTube videos about it. But yeah, just do your research, know what programs you want to do, look into the school, look into their mission statement, look into the professors and the research that they're doing, and see if it aligns with your personal career goals. Now, in terms of how I got into Boston, I genuinely have no idea. I feel like what happened was they really liked my personal statement. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I applied to Columbia University, and I got waitlisted for Columbia, and they said it was because of my personal statement. So I feel like my personal statement was pretty strong, and it helped me stand out because I brought in like my experience growing up and like my career goals and what I ultimately want to do in life, and like what I hope to gain from this program. So yeah, I am going to BU. And as I said, that I'm doing a master's in social work, and this program is pretty intense, but that's kind of another reason why I chose it. So how my program exactly is I'm a full-time clinical student. So I'm taking 6 classes, which is roughly around 17 credits. And then I have to do 16 hours a week into an internship. So by the end of the academic year, I have to have 480 hours in my internship to count as like experience. And then, yeah, then like I have like another job to make income because my internship is unpaid. So it's very intense, but I think it will be worth it in the end, and that I'll be very prepared, and that's kind of one of the main reasons why I chose to go to BU. Another reason why I chose to go to BU is because I ended up getting a scholarship based on my financial aid. So that's very helpful because they're ultimately paying half my tuition, which I'm so grateful for. So this video is basically just to give you tips and tricks that I wish I knew before applying to grad school and just talking about my grad program. If you have any questions, you can leave them down below. If you're wondering anything, I'd be more than happy to like help anyone out because I was so lost and I wish that I had help when applying. And I'm just talking about my personal experience and what I've kind of learned. But yeah, so if you have any questions, just leave them down below and I'd be happy to answer them. I know this video is a little short, but this is like all that I could really think of that I felt was important to share. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. And thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. We now have 114 subscribers, which is really exciting for me. So thank you guys so much for supporting me and this channel. And if you're interested in like college type of videos, please leave a like and like tell me in the comments. I'd be more than happy to share my experience in grad school. I moved across the country pretty much and I don't know anyone here in Boston, and yeah, I kind of just picked up my life and decided that I wanted to come here because I am academically driven. So yeah, I can even give advice about exploring a new city and trying to create a community here and just things that I'm learning throughout my 20s. I'm thinking about doing a series about it, just living my 20s and like things that I'm learning, because like I love watching those TikToks where people are talking about like things I wish I knew before 25 or something like that. So yes, thank you guys so much for watching this video and I hope you guys have a great day.